Alright, welcome back to a new video, and of course, this video is about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I watched on Friday, which this video might come out Saturday afternoon or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. Well, first of all, let me give you one complaint that is not of the movie, it's of the theater, right? If you don't know, AMC was doing a promotion for a free poster if you bought the ticket in a premium format, which means the expensive tickets, which I did. Turns out they ran out. Which, first of all, that doesn't make any sense. You need to tell me the most anticipated movie of this year is coming out, and you did not expect that a lot of people would show up and buy premium format. I call bull on that. And now I am with no poster and I feel cheated. But anyways, that's up for the theater. Screw you. I'm still probably going to watch in their theaters, but I'm definitely not buying the promotional events either. But they definitely had their ugly popcorn buckets, I'll tell you that. They had more of that. But anyways, into the movie, what I think of it. I thought it was really good. Okay, just like everyone says, is it the best comic book movie ever? No. Okay, let's be real. No, it's not. But it is a really fun, enjoyable movie. But I keep saying but there's a lot of things that kind of piss me off. But first, let's talk about the positives. Miles Morales' and Spider-Man India's universe, they look beautiful for the most part. The introduction and all that stuff looks really good. Spider-Man's also looks good, but for like the beginning, like the intro. By the way, spoiler alert for anything after this, because I cannot guarantee that I will not say spoilers, right? But it looks beautiful. It's funny, the dynamic with the Spider-Men, Miles Morales, Spider-Punk. Not really. And Spider-Man India, very good. A lot of references and a lot of I want to say cameos because they're just there for like a quick second. When they're like, oh, it is a cameo, but to be honest, I feel like most people forgot. But of course, PS4 Spider-Man appeared, which we'll get into that later. They reference Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield again in this movie. They even have Donald Glover's Prowler in this. That's right, the MCU live action character made it into the movie, which is very interesting. But we'll get into that, right? And the plot was good. Everything else was good. The ending was good too, right? It's the how do I say, the reveal, the twist. But that also has a little bit of confusion for me. So let's get right into it. So first of all, the whole point is that Miles Morales has to learn that Spider-Man cannot exist without sacrifices, which holds true for the most part. Because every Spider-Man and even Spider-Woman has lost someone close to them to teach them about responsibility. Because as you know, they reference, or they show Tobey Maguire's more, clearly, and Andrew Garfield's for the second point, because they need two sacrifices, kind of. I don't want to say sacrifices, but two people have to die for him to learn, right? The death of Uncle Ben, or an uncle, right? Because it shows Miles Morales' Uncle Aaron. And the death of a captain. Someone who rushes in to help and ends up dying when Spider-Man fights his arch nemesis, which shows Andrew Garfield's, because obviously Captain Stacy in that movie dies in the first one, right? Weird thing. I mean, I would get why Uncle Ben or the uncle dying would be very pivotal. By the way, if these events are supposed to happen, meaning if there's no outside force, these people are supposed to die, as is shown with Spider-Man India, as he lost his Uncle Ben, that was already fulfilled, but he was supposed to lose Captain, right? But since the other Spider-Men were there, Miles Morales jumped in without knowing what would happen and saved the Captain, which therefore caused the timeline or his universe to be unstable and could be destroyed, because it's shown that it could be destroyed, but they're trying to save it, right? But as later revealed, Spider-Man 2099 says, there's a very slim chance that the universe actually survives. And we've seen the universe collapse, before, because Spider-Man 2099 went to a different universe where he died to replace him, right? Which makes sense, because the Spider-Verse is technically connected to the MCU, because it's connected to the live-action Spider-Man. Not Tom Holland for some reason. That's a little weird. or maybe they did show him, but I just didn't see it, right? But they definitely show Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's, which have crossed over with Tom Holland's, which therefore makes them kind of part of the MCU, not 100%. Not to mention the Prowler from, I think it's Homecoming. He's there, so it definitely connects it. But anyways, they need someone to be sacrificed. They need someone to die to be close. Difference is, Spider-Gwen lost Peter Parker, not an uncle. At least that we know of, because it's shown that she loses Peter Parker, which kind of goes away from the point of losing an uncle. Or maybe it wasn't an uncle, I don't know. Maybe I misheard it and this entire video is for nothing. But another one is, of course, the captain. Difference is, her dad's a captain. It means if everything were to go the way of the Spider-Man, she would lose her dad. Difference is, in that universe, he quits because she left the universe to go to the Spider-Man group, right? And of course, that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, if he's left to his own devices, that's not supposed to happen. Which means, technically, her universe would be destroyed too. Not to mention, this is also weird because they could have fixed something that Sony has already messed up, because they already shown that the animated universes are connected to the live action one, because as everyone's seen in the TV spot, Spot visits the Venom universe to steal a pack of gum. That's a little weird, but whatever, man. And he does it, right? And of course, Prowler from the MCU makes it. As everyone knows, Morbius has a post-credit scene where Vulture from the MCU ends up in Morbius's universe, right? And everyone's all like, how does that make any sense? Because in the MCU, it's established that if you stay in a universe that's not your own for too long, then the universes collide and one or both universes die. Which makes sense. Difference is, that's supposed to happen versus Morbius's universe in the MCU, which they can't really ignore, because it's like, it's still canon, because the Vulture is in the MCU and Sony has the rights to the Spider-Man characters, which means if they say it's canon, technically it's canon to the MCU, but whatever. And not to mention, when the Spider People travel to different universes, they glitch, which actually, I don't know if that happened because of the events of Into the Spider-Verse, because I don't think the Spider People glitched before that. Which then would make sense of something that I was thinking about, of why Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire didn't glitch during the events of No Way Home. But anyways, like I was saying, another plot, not really an important plot, but it is told that the Elite Spider Task goes into different universes to capture villains, or basically I would assume anyone who end up getting transported into a different universe, because, they're not supposed to be there. Which they could have easily fixed the Vulture problem, because they could have gone and shown him instead of the Prowler. Because the Prowler is just there for a cameo. Oh my god, it's Donald Glover. Right? No. They could have done it with Vulture being like, oh yeah, that mistake we made that would have caused the destruction of one of the universes? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nah, he's back to his original universe. Yeah, he's back in the MCU. That would have made sense, but they didn't do that because I actually don't know. I don't know. But anyways, another bad thing, which if you haven't watched the movie, you would kind of get where I'm coming from. People say this is the best looking movie they've seen. They are lying to themselves. I will tell you firsthand, when I watched the movie in a premium format, which I've already told you, some of the scenes look absolutely atrocious. Spectacular Spider-Man makes a cameo, right? And in some shots, most shots actually, they have him in his 2D cartoon design, which looks good. But there's one scene where he gets a 3D render, which looks ugly. And then there's scenes in the second half of the movie where Spider-Man 2099 travels to capture Miles Morales because he escapes, right? The whole chase scene. He looks ugly. If I were to describe how it looks like how, old footage that's restored looks like. Like, oh, this old 360p 24 frames per second old home videos restored in a 4K 60 frames per second. It would kind of look like that, but for a PS2 or PS3 render, which I guess, like I said, Miles Morales' and Spider-Man India's design and, universe looks amazing, right? But the second they okay, well, not Spider-Man India. He doesn't really appear much after his universe. Gets the whole yeah, your universe is about to collapse. Yeah, no, yeah, about that. But Miles Morales in another sometimes in other universes look like shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, it looks like garbage. People say it's the best looking movie they've ever seen. You are lying to yourself. Are some scenes beautiful? Yes. Yes, they are. But let me tell you something. I'm going to say a hot take already because this is a movie. I cannot 100% say it's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 movie. Did I really enjoy it? Yes. But there are some scenes where there's too much color going on where I can't differentiate anything. Some people say, oh, that's the point. That's whatever. It's still ugly. And anyways, here's the hot take, which I forgot to say. Puss in Boots 2, the movie that's inspired by Into the Spider-Verse, looks 100 times better than Across the Spider-Verse. Like I will die on the hill in support of Puss in Boots 2, the way it looks better than Spider-Verse 2, because Spider-Verse 1 looks better than Spider-Verse 2. I will say it here. And people will say, oh, but it's a different design, because that's the whole point. That doesn't change the fact that sometimes it's really ugly. Alright? There's a lot of scenes where it's really ugly. Not to mention the humor sucks, because there's a character that I hate. I absolutely despise. And there's another one which I don't hate, but I also don't like. And that is, of course, Spider-Punk. Well, first of all, I don't like his character type. His entire character is like, oh, I don't like authority. I'm so cool and all that stuff. And the same thing is like, Spider-Punk is supposed to be seen as this cool guy, right? I was like, okay, whatever, right? And then he takes off his mask like, oh my god, you're cooler in person. Really? Really? This is how it is. And not to mention, Miles is out here getting, some weird messages with Gwen and all that stuff like, oh, I don't know what's his name, Dobie? I'm gonna just call him Dobie, whatever, right? Like, oh, I stayed over at Dobie's place for a while, like in his bed and all that stuff. Like, oh, and then Spider-Man is like, oh, did you tell him about Dobie and all that stuff? Like, and all that stuff. Like, what the hell's going on, man? You just leave him. What the hell, man? I wanted his universe to be destroyed next, man. I don't like him. And of course, his humor does not work at all. For me. Okay, it's not my cup of tea. I'll say this right now. It's not my cup of tea. But the other one's Scarlet Spider. I didn't like his humor at all. His whole humor is like, oh, I'm so broken. I'm so and you might say, oh, it's a joke about the complexity of Scarlet Spider, because Scarlet Spider is a whole clone of Peter Parker and has identity crisis and all that stuff, which makes sense, but it's not funny. Okay, I don't care if the damn point makes sense. Like, oh, we did this because of this, and I'll be like, okay, that makes sense. Still not funny though. Okay, it's still not funny. But anyway, Spy. That's right, Spy. Let's talk about him. He is the character that is first seen as a joke, and then becomes somewhat serious at the end, and then we never see him again. Which is cool. It's cool. I guess. I mean, his powers is obviously, nice. And it's weird that he can't really understand his own powers, even though it's been like, I would assume, a year since the events of Into the Spider-Verse, which caused his, transformation into the Spot. And he's also a doctor and physicist or whatever, nanotechnology. So he would have understood his powers by now. He's a really smart guy. He just, no, he doesn't. Okay. But anyways, he is a really powerful entity because he has already been shown to be able to travel the multiverse in the Spider-Verse. Which is so weird because there's a multiverse of Spider-Verse, and then there's a multiverse of just regular old multiverse because it shows. So is the infinite multiverse of spiders connected to the multiverse of the MCU? Because I would assume it is, and that's so weird. But anyways, with all that negativity, let's go to another positive, which also has a negative. That is, of course, the end. Once again, spoilers alert, because this one's really, really shocking, which is really cool. Let me tell you something. Because Miles Morales is sent back to his universe, right? Because he had no way of going back. He didn't have the watch, right? So he goes back. But it is revealed that that is not his universe. Because the spider that bit him is not from Miles Morales' universe, which is why 2099 does not like Miles Morales. People are saying, why does 2099 hate him? It is because Miles Morales is, as he says, the original anomaly. And he is the original anomaly because, like I said, the spider that bit him is not from his universe. It was never supposed to bite him. But I don't get how the spider works. Is the spider supposed to bite someone due to like fate, or does he just bite with someone random? And Miles Morales is actually really lucky that he got bitten. Okay, not lucky because he lost his uncle because of it, and he couldn't do anything about it. And he's gonna lose his dad because the dad's a captain. So yeah. Also, that's another point, of the movie, is that he doesn't want to lose his dad. He wants to help him, even though if he does, that would cause the destruction of his universe, which we'll get to that later because I got more stuff to talk about that, right? But he gets sent to the universe where the spider bit him, or where the spider's originally from, which makes kind of sense, but it doesn't because he glitches in that universe, which means it's a clear sign that he does not belong there. So why did it send him there? It sent him there even though the universe is like, yeah, you don't belong here. So why would the scanners think he's from that universe? Wouldn't they think he's from the other universe? Because he doesn't glitches in his own home universe. So why would they send him there? Because that's a clear sign that the universe, likes him. It's like, oh yeah, you're part of our universe or something like that. Or 2099 says, because of you, there is a universe where there is no spider to protect them. Because remember, in this universe, the only superheroes that exist is Spider-Man and, well, supervillains. That's about it. Meaning without no Spider-Man, they kind of don't got anything to defend them, which is really weird because you mean to tell me the worldwide... Anyways, so it's shown the destruction. It's still normal, but everything's on fire, which, if you want to make it look like a post-apocalyptic scene, just make it look like a regular city, just a bunch of fire. And it is shown that Miles Morales in this universe, which I think the spider was still supposed to bite him, I can't tell. Anyways, his dad dies in that universe because, I don't know, the villains are running rampant. So since he's a cop, they probably went for him first. Anyways, Miles Morales ends up becoming the Prowler because he didn't get bitten? Because I don't get it. Because this universe would still have a Peter Parker, right? Because Miles Morales or the original Miles Morales, has a Peter Parker in his universe. So I don't get it. I don't get how it works. But obviously Miles Morales becomes the Prowler, which is weird because his uncle's still alive, except the uncle isn't the Prowler, which doesn't make any sense because Miles Morales would be like 12 at the point of like the villains running rampant, and Uncle Aaron, well, first of all, already has gray hair, so this universe is definitely stressing him out, but so it still doesn't make sense. Or maybe Uncle Aaron gave him the mantle of the Prowler afterwards, and he is of course a villain, which I would assume, unless it's he definitely is a villain, because I don't know why they would later reveal that he would be a hero still, because that definitely probably wouldn't happen, especially since he was born after the supervillains took over, probably. But like I said, he still glitches in that universe, which makes no sense, because that's supposed to be the universe where he's from. That's where the scanners showed him. So if that was the case, he wouldn't be glitching. So why did they send him there? But anyways, of course, the end of the movie ends in a cliffhanger with Miles Morales as the Prowler. Let me tell you something. His design looks awesome, right? Looks absolutely stunning. But it's on a cliffhanger because Miles Morales is still stuck there. And Gwen, in the meantime, after kind of being kicked out of the Spider-Man group, brings an entire crew together, which involves basically every Spider-Man from the original Spider-Verse movie, being Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, Penny Parker, Peter B. Parker, and of course the two new ones, Spider-Man India, let's go, and Spider-Punk, which I hate. Boo! I hope he dies in the movie. In the next movie, at least. But they're going to help Miles Morales save his dad, which would inevitably cause the destruction of his universe, because Spider-Man India's universe is also really about to collapse, and they said it themselves, there's a very slim chance that they save it. If that's the case, and Peter B. Parker, and of course 2099, that's why he's acting like that, have seen a universe collapse because of stopping a canon event, because that's what they call it, why would he still help Miles? Like, I would get it, his dad would still be alive, but you've seen it firsthand. You've probably seen it multiple times, and you haven't figured out a way how to stop it. Like, I mean, permanently. Like, how to stop it from even happening. And yet you're still going with the plan of causing Miles Morales to go through that. Like, I get it at the end of the movie, next movie, his universe will still stay intact, or maybe this isn't. No, it's not an introduction of Miles Morales into the MCU because, was it Donald Glover already mentioned the nephew when he was the Prowler in the MCU? But then again, they could just say something dumb like, "Oh, that's not Miles Morales. That's someone else. That's a different nephew." But whatever. Like, they know that if they help Miles Morales, his universe has a humongous chance of getting destroyed, and they have no real plan of how to stop it. By the way, Spot became unstoppable because he's now filled with spots. Yeah, which means he could just travel wherever he wants, whenever he wants, and he wants to be Miles Morales' #1 villain, not villain of the week, which was a very funny running gag, which is up until Spot left. So yeah. But anyways, it's still a really good movie. I just think people are overhyping it a little bit. The animation is not the best I've seen in the past year because Puss in Boots 2, I said it and I'll say it again, 100% better animation, 100% better visuals and everything than Spider-Verse 2. Even though it did have some good parts, just not a lot. And of course, I've been ranting for like 10 minutes about stuff I don't like, but I still enjoyed it, and I probably still will watch Spider-Verse 3, so that is something. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you stick around, I will have the first half of 2023 movie ranking. That's right, all the movies I have watched through 2023, all ranked. Unfortunately, I did not watch Little Mermaid, so she will not make an appearance. And of course, the continuation of the Fast and the Furious movie reviews and the future rankings of them because I suck at time management. Anyways, like I said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.